about a Republican primary that's decided by liberal Democrats. So much for bold colors. So much for principle. I guess they can take some consolation in the fact that they did something tonight by once again compromising, by once again reaching across the aisle, by once again abandoning the conservative movement. I would like to know which part of that strategy today our Republican friends endorse.
It's a great question. And it's a real question. If there was anybody in the establishment Republican Party that backed a strategy of attacking Chris McDaniel as a racist and attacking the Tea Party as a racist and appealing specifically to black folks, reinforcing the Democrat lie that Tea Partiers are a bunch of KKKers, that's disreputable, it's disgusting, and there's no place for it inside the Republican Party. Senator Ted Cruz, who was basically on the side of Chris McDaniel in this race, he said it is amazing that the establishment GOP condoned this sort of behavior in this primary.
Well, I didn't have a position in the Mississippi race. I from the beginning this year, have stayed out of all incumbent races. But I do think it's striking that the race was so close that it took, you saw the Washington Republican establishment put millions of dollars into that race to preserve an incumbent. And they encouraged an awful lot of Democrats to vote in that race and won a razor-thin race. I think that demonstrates that there's a lot of hunger for change. People are frustrated with Washington, and they're hungry for leaders who will stand up and make the case we need to go a different path. I certainly congratulate my colleague Thad. I congratulate James Lankford on their wins. And I'm hopeful that we'll see every Republican in Washington standing together to stand up to this failed Obama agenda that has taken the country in the wrong direction.
Well, I don't know how they're going to stand together when they're busy calling each other racist. This has become the calling card for basically all campaigns across the country. Charlie Rangel is a 22-term, deeply corrupt congressman from New York, Democrat. He's from Harlem. He was in a majority black district. He got redistricted, so his district became heavily Hispanic. He had an opponent who was a Dominican-born guy, and who ran within 1,000 votes from last time. Rangel won a very tight primary race, and he did so by making racial appeals. He went around to all the black churches, tried to drive up the black vote by claiming that Barack Obama was basically the son of God. He actually said that Barack Obama was God's gift to the American people, which I don't know how many people believe that today, given the fact that the U.S. economy in the first quarter of 2014, in the first quarter, it dropped 2.9%, which is the biggest drop since the recession of 2009. I'm not sure exactly who believes that anymore, except for Charlie Rangel's voters. Charlie Rangel also suggested that those who supported his opponent, those who supported Tea Partiers, people who were Republicans, they were all Confederates, neo-Confederates who wished that they owned slaves, which is just disgusting. And then Charlie Rangel issued what has to be among the most notable campaign songs in history. I mean, this one is just a doozy. Here is the Charlie Rangel campaign rap song, and it is both informative and ridiculous, and I will attempt to try it.
I don't know about y'all, man, but I'm turning all the way up now. We vote for Charles Rangel. We support Charles Rangel all the way. Y'all better do the same thing, go out and vote. Spy Boy LD and Don Swag. If you gonna vote, you gonna vote for the Rangel. Charlie Rangel. If you gonna vote, you gonna vote for the Rangel. Charlie.
I think they're saying if you are going to vote, you're going to vote for the Rangel. Charlie Rangel. Catchy stuff, yeah.
Charlie Rangel. Charlie for the Rangel. If you gonna vote, Charlie Rangel. If you gonna vote, you gonna vote for the Rangel. Charlie.
Okay. I have a question. If a white person crafted an ad like this for a largely black district, wouldn't people call it racist? Wouldn't people suggest it was racial pandering? Isn't this plain racial pandering? Isn't this Charlie Rangel just pandering to black folks? Isn't it kind of unseemly? You wait until you get to the biographical part. They actually start rapping about how he went to St. John's for law school.
Charlie Rangel. You know Charlie? He was born in Harlem, got a Purple Heart and Bronze Star. Earned him in the Army, got orders and he execute. Graduated NYU, and that was back in 1957. Then he went to St. John's and became a legal weapon.
It continues this way for quite a while. There's rap about Medicare, and then there's a return to the chorus, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie Rangel. That dude just won his 23rd consecutive term in Congress. Worth pointing out, do we have a culture gap in this country? Maybe a little one. Here is a campaign song for a woman named Marianne Williamson, who's this kind of spiritual guru who's running in a largely white district in California. And you might notice the contrast between the two types of music being used to pander to the Harlem crowd that Charlie Rangel is going after, and to the Beverly Hills crowd that apparently Alanis Morissette is going after for Marianne Williamson. I guess they're all sitting in their Priuses listening to this nonsense.
Unless we start a revolution, awaken from this frozen, start the mending of our union today. Unless we revive this Constitution.
Yeah. Slight difference there. There's a slight difference. One thing they do have in common, both are pandering. And Alanis Morissette is her song was largely about women power. Charlie Rangel's is essentially about racial power. And this is what America has now become. This is why it's saddening to watch as our political process devolves into, let's divide ourselves into various groups, and then let's just slap each other around. Let's just slap each other silly. It really is unfortunate. Well, something just as unfortunate coming up here on the Ben Shapiro Show. Remember we just gave a raise to Jorge Carrasco, the head of Seattle City Light? Well, we read about one scandal yesterday. I'll tell you about another one today. Before we get to that, got to mention that tomorrow night is a big night for the station, and it could be a big night for you. Head over to Seattle U tomorrow night. You can witness it should be a really terrific debate over whether religious freedom is under assault in the United States. This is a religious debate, including Michael Medved, me, David Bose will be moderating. There will be some folks on the other side as well, including Huffington Post columnist, a UW professor, and last but not least, Reverend Monica Corsero from Rainier Beach Methodist. She's the woman behind the Gay Boy Scout leader. So it should be a fascinating conversation. Seattle U, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. $15 to go, $10 to go as a student. So it should be a lot of fun. As I mentioned, coming up right here, a new scandal hit Seattle City Light, and this one is just even more astonishing than the old one. Ben Shapiro Show, AM 770, KTTH, KTTH.com. I gotta say, the Seattle sports scene seems to be getting odder and odder these days. After the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and after Richard Sherman became a national figure for saying something wild and crazy on national TV, and then claiming that it was because everybody else was racist, that we were upset about him going wild on a reporter on the sideline. Now, Marshawn Lynch has gotten into the act. He's apparently going to be posing naked for ESPN, the magazine body issue. He's one of 22 athletes who will pose nude. I don't know whether he will be in beast mode or not in beast mode. The other athletes include Michael Phelps, Venus Williams, Prince Fielder. I don't know who wants to see Prince Fielder nude. Serge Ibaka, Amy Purdy, the Paralympic bronze medal winning snowboarder, Larry Fitzgerald, Bernard Hopkins, and Danielle Wolfe, who's a female boxer, among others. So I guess that if you've ever wanted to see what Marshawn Lynch looks like without his clothes on, you're going to pick up that copy of ESPN magazine. And good luck. If that's your life, good luck to you. In other Seattle sports news, Hope Solo is now in court. Police are saying that she repeatedly punched her nephew and her half-sister in the face during a family scuffle. Police reports claim that soccer star Hope Solo's family members had let her back into their lives when she drunkenly assaulted them early Saturday morning in Kirkland, Washington. Hope has had she's been kind of a wild and crazy gal for quite a long time. For those who have known about her, she was the goalie on the U.S. women's Olympic team, World Cup team. She pled not guilty to 2 counts of fourth-degree assault Monday afternoon in Kirkland Municipal Court. She was released from custody and ordered not to contact the alleged victims or possess or consume alcohol. Her attorney says that she was a victim in the family scuffle, having been hit in the head with a broom handle. Her husband is Seattle Seahawks tight end Jeremy Stevens. He attended her court hearing. The city prosecutor asked for $5,000 bail, but the municipal court judge released Solo without bail. She got married in 2012. He was arrested. The tight end for the Seahawks was arrested just before their wedding for investigation of assault after a disturbance involving her, but he was never charged. Police say that Kirkland officers were sent to the 10,600 block of 124th Avenue Northeast in Kirkland on reports of a woman, quote, going crazy and hitting people. Responding officers shouting in the area. They heard shouting in the area. They found a 17-year-old male with redness on one side of his face wearing a torn T-shirt. He also had a bleeding cut on the bottom of his left ear as he was crying and saying, we just let her back into our lives, and she always does this. The teen told police that his mother's half-sister, Solo, came over to visit, upset with her husband because he was, quote, being a jerk. She appeared to have been drinking and drank wine for some time with her half-sister. She then grew upset with her nephew, according to the nephew, over a misunderstanding, and then reportedly insulted him, calling him, quote, too fat and overweight and crazy. The nephew then told her to get out of the house and went into another room. Solo reportedly followed him, and the two got into an argument that allegedly escalated as Solo charged at him and took a swing at him. Well, I guess she's allowed to use her hands, right? They then tussled on the ground, and she repeatedly punched him in the face and tackled him, according to reports. The nephew grabbed her by the hair and held her to the ground until she appeared to calm down, at which point she repeatedly grabbed his hair, pulled him back down, punched him some more. Then her half-sister came in, tried to break it up, but Solo turned on her and punched her in the face several times, so the nephew got a broom that he broke over her head, but she didn't relent, so then he pointed a BB gun at her. Eventually, she stopped. Her half-sister pushed her out the door. She re-entered through an unlocked sliding door and then assaulted her sister some more. So a lot of persistence on the part of the former U.S. women's soccer team goalie. Police ultimately arrived. They found Solo's half-sister had a swollen left cheekbone that was turning purple. The sister apologized to her son for letting hope back into their lives and told police that she wanted nothing to do with her, reports say. Police say that they'll describe the charges as hope and change. Solo said that the police that she didn't attack anyone. She said her nephew attacked her with a broom after she called him fat and unathletic. So, more delightful Seattle sports news for you here today. Now, in government-related news, we remember Jorge Carrasco. We've been talking about him the last couple of days because the dude makes a lot of money, $364,000 for running the utility. He just got a $60,000 raise. Well, our good friend Jorge Carrasco, when last we saw Jorge, we should have As the World Turns music here. Because when last we left our story, CEO Jorge Carrasco had just given $120,000 worth of copper wire and scrap metal to two fake Native Americans. Just because he felt like it. And then he tried to cover it up because it didn't appear in any of the Seattle City Light investigative reports. Well, now it turns out that not only did he waste $120,000 of scrap metal, he also wasted $18,000 to clean his name up on Google. The Seattle Times reporting today that Seattle City Light's work with consulting firm Brand.com